Squad 3. On April 19, 1963, Patrolman Crozier with officers from the 4-2 precinct carried a man on a stretcher from the 153rd Street subway station to the street after he was found on the tracks with his foot trapped in the third rail. Shortly afterwards, Patrolman Crozier suffered a heart attack and died. Patrolman Edmund Schremer, Tactical Patrol Force. On foot patrol, May 1st, 1964, Patrolman Schremer and his partner stopped a suspicious vehicle on 2nd Avenue in Brooklyn. As Patrolman Schremer reached into the car to secure the ignition keys, the suspect floored the accelerator. Patrolman Schremer held on for 4.5 blocks while being dragged to the speeding vehicle. The officer fell to his death beneath the wheels of the car. The auto then crashed into a bus, ensuring the fatality of the patrolman. Patrolman John F. Polarolo, Harbor Unit. On July 20th, 1964, Patrolman Polarolo, on foot patrol on the Triborough Bridge, was fatally struck by a hit-and-run driver. His partner, Patrolman Dwyer, apprehended the driver. Patrolman Stanley Butch, Harbor Unit. February 11th, 1966, Patrolman Butch, while conducting a grappling operation from a police boat, plunged overboard. The patrolman was removed from the water and given CPR, but to no avail. The doctor from Beekman Hospital pronounced him DOA, to be sure. Patrolman Plato E. Arbonitis, Aviation Unit. Patrolman George H. Bishop, Aviation Unit. On December 21st, 1967, Patrolman Arbonitis and Bishop were killed when their police helicopter plunged into the icy waters of the East River near the Manhattan Bridge. Patrolmen were conducting traffic surveillance when a malfunction caused their Bell 47J2 helicopter to suddenly lose power, send, and impact the water. Patrolman John Banks, Emergency Service Squad 9. On April 15, 1968, while lifting heavy rescue equipment in the emergency service garage, Patrolman Banks suffered a massive heart attack. Transported to Jamaica Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Patrolman Salvatore Spinola, Emergency Service Squad 8. Call, request for oxygen, man in a sewer, came on the morning of October 2nd, 1969, at Troy Avenue and Eastern Parkway in the 77th Precinct. Patrolman Spinola and Hayes found the utility worker down in the manhole unconscious. Patrolman Spinola donned breathing equipment and descended into the hole to rescue the fallen worker. However, he was overcome by deadly methane fumes and fell. Backup converted. Patrolman Hayes followed his partner down and raised his body up so he could be hoisted out. Patrolman Spinola was rushed to Unity Hospital, but died as medical efforts failed. Patrolman Patrick Harrington, Aviation Unit. Patrolman Joseph T. Maricondo, Aviation Unit. On March 1st, 1970, while on patrol over the skies above Queens, Patrolman Harrington and Maricondo were killed when their Bell 206A helicopter suffered a sudden catastrophic failure and crashed in the water. Patrolman Maurice J. Urban, Harbor Unit. On October 13th, 1970, Patrolman Urban aboard Harbor Launch 4 at Pier 10 on the East River had been maneuvering to recover a dead human body from the water. He was crushed. A strong current swept the launch under the pier. His injuries fatal. Patrolman Patrick O'Connor, Emergency Service Squad 1. On November 24th, 1971, Patrolman O'Connor and his partner, Patrolman Maurice Fitzgerald, were assigned to Unit Adam 6. While proceeding along the Gowanus Expressway near 55th Street, They approached the disabled vehicle and activated their emergency lights to protect the occupants. Without warning, however, the REP was violently struck from the rear by an oil tanker truck, projecting them 200 feet from the point of impact. Pinned in the wreckage, all officers were removed, rushed to Lutheran Medical Hospital. Patrolman Fitzgerald survived his injuries. Patrolman O'Connor. Patrolman Stephen R. Gilroy, Emergency Service 180. January 19, 1973, 4 males entered John and Al sporting goods store in Broadway, Brooklyn, in the 90 precinct, to commit an armed robbery. Instead, gun battle erupted, responding patrol officers, and a hostage situation ensued. Emergency service officers wearing tactical body armor and equipped with special weapons established containment around the store. Shortly, more gunfire exploded from inside. Patrolman Gilroy, who was guarding the perimeter, was shot. The officer was rescued from the line of fire by his team, transported to Kings County Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. 47 hours later, the 4 gunmen surrendered. Police Officer Thomas Pegues, Tactical Patrol Force. On August 19, 1974, Officer Pegues and his partner were on foot patrol, assigned to vehicle checks on New York Boulevard, the 103 precinct. They stopped a car containing 2 suspicious males, resulting in the arrest of the driver. Without warning, the passenger suspect pulled out a gun, shot Officer Pegues in the back, causing a fatal wound. Both suspects were later arrested. Detective Horace Lee Ford, Street Crime Unit. On November 6, 1978, Detective Ford died as a result of gunshot wounds he received when he challenged an armed bank robber. The detective was off duty in the manufacturer's bank branch on Casino Boulevard, Flushing. Police Officer Robert J. Bilodeau, Street Crime Unit. February 12, 1980, Officer Bilodeau and his partner exited their unmarked police vehicle to investigate 6 suspicious males within the 280 precinct. The officers observed one of the men reaching for a gun at his waist. As the officers approached, the suspect ran down an alley. Officer Bilodeau pursued the man and was shot in an exchange of gunfire. He later died at Harlem Hospital. Suspect, wounded in the gunfight, was later arrested seeking treatment at a Mount Vernon hospital. Eventually convicted of murder, he was sentenced to 25 years to life. Officer Bilodeau was posthumously awarded his 2nd Medal of Honor. His first Medal of Honor was awarded after a near-fatal knife attack. Detective Abraham Walton, Street Crime Unit. On July 14, 1980, Detective Walton was shot and killed. He interrupted a robbery while off duty. Detective Walton was in a social club. 3 suspects entered, brandishing handguns as they announced the holdup. Suspects ordered the patrons to the floor and demanded money and jewelry. The gunman began to beat one of the victims. Detective Walton drew his weapon, identified himself, and ordered the suspect to get down. But instead, gunshots were exchanged. The detective was hit 4 times. The suspect fled with his pistol. Detective Walton was removed to the hospital. His wounds were fatal. Police Officer James Rowley, Aviation Unit. Police Officer Charles Trojan, Aviation Unit. On July 22, 1983, Officers Rowley and Trojan were killed after their helicopter was struck by a seaplane in the sky over Brooklyn. The plane struck the tail rotor of their B-Bell 206 helicopter, sending it crashing through the roof of an industrial building. 2 of the 4 passengers on the seaplane also died. Police Officer Joseph P. McCormack, Emergency Service Squad 2. On September 29, 1983, ESU responded to Beaufort Avenue in the 4-5 precinct to an emotionally disturbed male barricaded in a residence armed with a shotgun. Containment was established, the negotiations lasted for over 3 hours. Meanwhile, Officer McCormick had returned to Manhattan quarters after his court appearance, learned of the Bronx situation, and immediately responded. The officer was positioned in the rear yard to protect the negotiating team. Subject suddenly entered the back door, shouldered the shotgun. Mortally wounded, Officer McCormick returned fire before collapsing. As another ESU officer also returned fire, killing the gunman. Police Officer Francis LaSalle, Emergency Service Squad 1. The quiet darkness, January 5th, 1987, Officer LaSalle rushed to a fire and occupied the office building near Squad 1 quarters. Donning an air pack, he entered the burning building to evacuate the residents. Despite intense smoke and overwhelming heat, Officer LaSalle advanced through the hallways and up the stairs. Shortly afterwards, the fallen officer was found in a charred stairwell after being trapped at the threshold. With life-threatening burns, the officer was rushed to Cornell Burn Center. He died 5 days later. Heroic efforts of Officer LaSalle and his team allowed the lives of dozens of medics to be saved. Police Officer Kenneth Hansen, Harbor Unit. Initially assigned to Brooklyn, Officer Hansen would follow in the footsteps of his father, Detective John Hansen, Sr. of the Harbor Unit. On June 11, 1991, Officer Hansen became missing while performing the role of a victim in the water during an air-sea rescue exercise off Battery Park in the Lower Hudson River. After an intense search, his body was recovered the following day. Kenny's brother, Police Officer John Hansen, Jr., also a member of the Harbor Unit, was on the scene and participated in the rescue efforts. Police Officer Kevin J. Gillespie, Street Crime Unit, March 14, 1996, in the Bronx. Officer Gillespie and his partner stopped a luxury automobile, which was reportedly carjacked. As the officers approached the vehicle, one of the suspects opened fire. One bullet struck Officer Gillespie in the shoulder above his body armor, deflected, striking his vital organs. He died at nearby St. Barnabas Hospital. Officer Gillespie's partner pursued the suspects in a running gun battle down the Grand Concourse. One suspect was shot 5 times and another was arrested at the scene, later committing suicide in jail by hanging. Officer Gillespie, a United States Marine Corps veteran of the Gulf War, was given a hero's burial in Long Island National Cemetery. Sergeant John C. Coghlan, Emergency Service Squad 4. Sergeant Michael S. Curtin, Emergency Service Squad 2. Sergeant Rodney C. Gillis, Emergency Service Squad 8. Detective Joseph V. Vigiano, Emergency Service Squad 2. Police Officer John Delara, Emergency Service Squad 2. Police Officer Vincent G. Dance, Emergency Service Squad 3. Police Officer Jerome M. Dominguez, Emergency Service Squad 3. Police Officer Stephen P. Driscoll, Emergency Service Squad 4. Police Officer Ronald P. Lofer, Emergency Service Squad 7. Police Officer Thomas M. Langone, Emergency Service Squad 10. Police Officer Brian G. McDonald, Emergency Service Squad 1. Police Officer Paul Hulke, Emergency Service Squad 10. Police Officer Santos Valentin, Jr., Emergency Service Squad 7. Police Officer Walter E. Weaver, Emergency Service Squad 3. On what began as a splendid September morning, crystal blue skies would preclude New York PD's darkest day, a day that marked New York City's most horrific one, and a day that changed our country, changed our world forever. September 11, 2001, our nation suffered the worst terrorist attack in its history. Two hijacked airliners were intentionally crashed into the towers of the World Trade Center. Facing catastrophic fires and powerful explosions, members of NYPD rushed to the scene. Teams of ESU rescuers were dispatched to the north and south towers. As thousands of citizens attempted to flee the inferno, emergency service officers rushed in. But while assisting the terrified citizens toward safety, tragedy would strike again. One by one, the towers of the World Trade Center collapsed without warning. 23 New York City police officers died in the collapses, including 14 brave members of the emergency service unit. Over 25,000 innocent lives were saved in the rescue effort. 14 ESU rescuers died as they lived, as heroes. Sacrificed their lives valiantly so that others would live. We will never forget their courage and strength, and most importantly, the way in which they touched our lives. Since the 9/11 attacks, ESU legend has held that the 14 members who perished were so respected for their bravery and dedication that nothing less than a falling skyscraper could have brought them back. Sergeant Keith A. Ferguson, Emergency Service Squad 7. On January 31st, 2004, Sergeant Ferguson collapsed after running to assist another police officer who was attempting to apprehend a suspect on a city street. The sergeant was on special anti-terrorism duty in Manhattan when he heard a foot patrol officer calling for help. In pursuit of the suspect he was attempting to arrest. Sergeant Ferguson, himself the son of an NYPD police officer, was transported to St. Vincent's Hospital, but his life did not be saved. Captain Harry Galvano, Emergency Service. On June 26, 2011, Captain Galvano lost his courageous battles with cancer. She incurred as a result of exposure to toxins at Ground Zero. His will to live, his love of family, friends, and colleagues helped him in an enduring fight, during which the New York PD Captains Endowment Association produced his story with a video in his own words. The film detailed Barry's pride and service to the public while a captain in the New York City Police Department. Shock and subsequent call to action, the wake of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, and the search and recovery of the remains of victims at the World Trade Center. This concludes the 10th Annual Memorial Roll Call. On behalf of the brave officers remembered today, it is our high honor to respectfully thank each and every one of you for coming here today. I hope keep their sacrifice and their memory alive. May God bless the fallen heroes of the Special Operations Division. May God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Al Baker, for that moving tribute, and thank you to our NYPD pipes and drums. It is now my pleasure to introduce our final speaker, Rema Coordinator, retired Detective Tony Santiago.
Al Baker wants his water back. It's definitely not true that they saved the best for last. They just saved the oldest for last. I have several things I like to say. First of all, this is off the cuff. I have to thank everybody who makes this possible, starting with the police commissioner on down, the guys who pitching from aviation, the emergency service unit, the units on the base. None of which can be done without the cooperation and the backing of these guys up here. I mean, they're the best. I mean, I realize I'm just a civilian, and we're guests here. And that's the way they open up their homes to their guests. I will visit them anytime, and thank you so much for it. I have to thank you people. You helped me carry out that promise I made of never forgetting. It wasn't made lightly. It wasn't made over a cup of coffee back in the quarters. It was made with a little bit of thought. What was they going to do, or how was they going to do it? 10 years ago, there was no mechanism in the system to actually honor our guys. You could do it on an individual basis, or possibly here and there, but I felt there should be something formal to allow the people to express the way they feel on one day, 1 hour of the whole year. So some people feel it could be a little bit of a burden. Obviously you don't, and I don't either. I could only say people who have gone on and made that final contribution, that lost their lives, they're not here. But they're probably watching. I hope they approve of what we've done. And I have to thank just certain individuals. The fellow who is doing the guitar playing and singing, his name is Chris Walsh. He's the son of an ESU icon, George Walsh. George was like a guy that you could always count on for anything, anytime, anywhere. He was an email. And I want to thank Chris. We may bring him back next year. I also would like to thank, believe it or not, Al Baker. 365 days a year, that man is my right hand. And I kind of like never give him full credit that it's due. But without Al Baker, it would be me leading this year, so you can imagine that. But he does such a good job. My grandson is here, and he actually put my grandson to sleep. It's not an easy feat. So, make it short and sweet. We have food over there in the back, the sandwiches, the sodas. There'll still be displays outside, static displays. I think they're going to be doing another demonstration outside. But it just goes without saying that next year is going to be even bigger and better. So thank you. I'm sorry, I'll make it short and sweet. In the back is our Chief Financial Officer, Michael Mazza. The duty commander who collected the donation. Okay? All right, now Monsignor Romano's got to hit the first. Hey, doesn't get much better than that. Well, thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen.